7:30 kickoff, which promises to be a really good game. It's a team that always give us problems, don't they, Brentford? Earlier on the season, we played them in Ange Postecoglou's first ever game, a 2-2 draw, where they gave us a lot of problems that game. We were under pressure for quite a large periods of that game. And, last season, the back end of the campaign, they beat us at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium 3-1 when Harry Kane scored that free kick. But things aren't going all swimmingly for Brentford this season, especially away from home. I think they've had 2 away wins all season. Ivan Toney has been out for the majority of the season, but he came back last game and looked back to his best straight away. Wissa and Mbeumo out of the team as well. So how do you assess Brentford so far this season?
Yeah, it's been a very up and down season for Brentford, mostly down, I would say. Obviously, they're a lot closer to the relegation zone than they would like to be, or they would expect it to be at this stage of the season. Currently sitting only 6 points above the relegation zone, albeit they do have they have played the same games. They do have a game in hand over some teams this season, but I think they've played quite well for a lot of the season. I think a lot of the games have been quite even, and they've been a lot of tight games. But whereas last season, I think a lot of those games were going their way. A lot of those results were going their way. They would win by the odd goal. This season, a lot of the times they're losing by the odd goal. And they are making a lot more mistakes at the back. I think the downgrade of Raya to Flecken has definitely affected them. Flecken has not made the impact I think they'd hoped he had made. Raya has been a lot more solid, and Flecken's made a few mistakes and doesn't look anywhere near as solid. Obviously, Toney missing for the whole season's had a massive impact, and unfortunately for us, we're facing him a bit at the wrong time because Toney's just come back and he looked really great against Nottingham Forest a couple of weeks ago, and they got their first win in a while as well. I think going into that game, they're on a run of like 5 or 6 losses in a row, and they have got back to winning ways. So whether that gives them renewed confidence, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, Neil Maupay has come in this season and had a decent impact in the absence of Toney, but with Mbeumo and Wissa out, that's a massive benefit to Spurs because you saw how much trouble they gave us, didn't you? In the first game of the season, they were causing us so much trouble with their pace running behind. That's what they give you in Mbeumo and Wissa. They're so clever with their running and they're so quick. And especially in Mbeumo, he's got the quality to finish his chances as well. He's so good. He's getting so much better in front of goal. So those players are going to be a massive miss for Brentford going into this game. But Ivan Toney being back, his ability to hold the ball up, bring other players into play, set pieces as well, how crucial he's been. He can be from set pieces, taking free kicks or getting on the end of something. And Brentford are a very physical team overall from set pieces, and I can definitely see them getting joy because we've struggled quite a bit at points from set pieces. Obviously, we conceded one against Man City last time, so I definitely see it being a difficult game.
Is Mbeumo back? Because our Cameroon are out. He's injured. He hasn't been playing for Cameroon, has he?
I don't think he got called up. I think.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. But Wissa, is he back?
Did they go out? I think they went out. I don't know who he plays for. I think they might have. He was playing the AFCON a few days ago, so whether he's back for that, I'm not sure.
Okay, he plays for the Congo.
Yeah, they went through, didn't they?
Okay.
Congo went through again. Oh no, they went out to Egypt.
No, Egypt are out.
I thought they went through on penalties.
I thought Egypt lost on penalties.
I can't remember now. Didn't they go through on penalties to Congo? I think they went through.
Fair enough. I thought they lost.
Anyway, I don't think either of them are going to be playing in this game. Is my point, and which is crucial because Brentford are so good on the counter-attack. The way they play long balls into the channels, they get Mbeumo and Wissa to run onto them. It's very hard to stop. So they do have.
They beat Egypt on pens.
Yeah, they won. Yeah, so they do. What's it called? They do have Lewis Potter.
Lewis Potter-Keane,
Lewis Potter-Keane. They have Toney, they have Maupay. So Potter-Keane as well, is he making a bit of an impact the past few games. He's actually been stepping up a bit, getting a few goal contributions. But I don't know. I don't know who they're going to start up front in this game, but I'm guessing it's going to be Toney and Maupay. That's a lot easier to deal with than Mbeumo and Wissa, that's for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the midfield that they could look, this is the predicted lineup with Damsgaard, Janelt, and Jensen in the middle. I mean, Jensen's having a good season as well. I'm not sure if Lewis Potter-Keane will be playing fullback. Is that where he's been playing? Lewis Potter-Keane? I'm sure he's been playing up front recently, but I guess injuries have kind
He's been playing wing back, yeah.
He has been playing
wing back. Wing back, but more of a winger, if you know what I mean. They play the three at the back. He is a wing back, but he's more of a winger than a wing back. So he gets forward a lot. He has been playing in that position, yeah. Which is, I definitely think if he starts in that position, we have to exploit that.
But they are a hard-working team, a very hard-working team. But for some reason or another, they just can't seem to be getting the results away from home this season. Like, they beat Fulham on their second game of the season, which was their first away game of the season. And since then, they've only beaten Chelsea away from home. Everyone else they've lost to pretty much, which is crazy. But we can't kind of take that for granted, can we? We need to bring our A game. We need to get back to winning ways after, going out the cup to Man City, drawing with Manchester United at Old Trafford. So, I mean, where do you see the biggest dangers coming from? Obviously, Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I mean, where else can they really hurt us?
They play very wide a lot of the time, especially with their fullbacks. I don't know if you remember in the game against Brentford at the beginning of the season, he's not going to be playing in this game, but Rico Henry gave us a torrid time down that left wing because they exploited the wide areas. They played their wing backs so wide, and it relies on our fullbacks to be managing those situations because they know there's space there to exploit because our fullbacks like to invert. They know the wing backs, if they can get them wing backs forward and not be exploited in the centre, which they won't be because they got three very strong midfielders and three centre backs. It's a very difficult position to basically exploit for us and to defend. So Porro's going to have to make sure he's dominating that side, make sure he's not being caught out of position too often. And obviously, it looks like potentially Lewis Potter or Reguilon can't play, can he? Because he's
injured apparently.
Reguilon's injured anyway. I would be a bit more worried maybe if it was Reguilon, but Lewis Potter is obviously an attacking player, so he's going to give us a lot of trouble down that left-hand side potentially. I definitely see them finding avenues and spaces out wide. I also feel like in midfield, they're very strong. They're very combative. So we're going to have to be extremely aggressive in centre mid to make sure they don't play. I think Jensen is a very underrated player. I really like him. I think he's really strong off the ball, and I think on the ball as well, very cultured, a very good passer of the ball as well, picks up very difficult positions. Brentford have a game plan, and they've been successful because their game plan is difficult to stop. Now, the reason why they're not higher up the table is because they don't maybe have the quality to execute the game plan as well, but they're always in games, it feels. Always, whenever I see Brentford play, it's always a very tight game. They're always very, very difficult to play against. Away from home, maybe less so, but they're still going to be very aggressive. They're going to be looking to win corners. They're going to be looking to win set pieces all the time. That's part of the plan. They put the long throws in as well. They've got very big height on their team, and especially with Ivan Toney now back, that is going to be the game plan for them to exploit those kind of situations. Obviously, Tottenham are going to dominate the ball. We're going to be looking to push them back. We're going to be looking to create chances and open them up. But they're going to be very compact, going to be very aggressive. And when they do attack, they're going to have those wing backs very wide. They're going to have Toney and Maupay up front, pinning back our centre backs. So that's going to be a very dangerous situation. And I can even envisage central midfielders being able to pick up some sort of spaces in the centre as well, because we're going to be pushed forward. But I think the biggest area is their wing backs, and I think it's going to be very hard to stop. We're just going to have to stop the supply. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because if you look back at that game, first game of the season, all the danger men for Brentford who played really well and gave us the most problems that game, Rico Henry, Brian Mbeumo and Johan Wissa. All three of them won't be playing this game. So it's going to be... It should be easier to deal with, to be honest, without those three players, because they are all three very good players. Rico Henry is probably one of the best left-backs in the Premier League. That's how good he is, in my opinion. Brian Mbeumo has been improving week on week since he's come to fore in the Premier League. What a good player he is. And Johan Wissa, I think this season as well, he's shown how much of a good player he is. But in terms of Ivan Toney, in his first game back last week,
he was dropping deep, he was knitting the play together, he was being aggressive. He obviously scored that free kick, which was a bit of clever play from him to keep moving the ball to get that better angle for him. So how do we deal with the Ivan Toney situation? Because with him dropping deep, is it a case of Romero, stepping out to follow him, or do we get the number 6 Bentancur or Skip, whoever it may be, to drop deep and keep covering him? How do we deal with that Ivan Toney situation?
I would say, obviously, they're going to play it long to him a lot. They're going to try and get him to chest the ball down, bring other players into play, get flick-ons onto Neil Maupay. I think what's very crucial in this game is our pressing is going to have to be on point, because Brentford like to play out the back. As much as they're a counter-attacking team, they actually do like to try and beat your press when you press them. And it has to be super aggressive to make sure that when they are playing it long, they don't get an accurate ball to Toney, that their passing is rushed and that it's lacking quality. And to do that, you're going to have to make sure you're hounding them. You're going to have to make sure you're making things awkward constantly. And you're going to have to make sure you've got all the spaces covered. Now, with the back three, their system is geared to give their centre-backs time and space on the ball so that they can play an accurate ball into Toney and get their team up the pitch, and obviously get the wing-backs into play as well. So we're going to have to basically adjust our pressing system to make sure that back three isn't getting the time on the ball to play those long balls forward. And as well, it's going to have to be a fine balance, because if you're pressing that front three aggressively, that leaves the potential for some of their central midfielders to get time and space on the ball as well. And if they do that, if they get their midfielders into play, then all of a sudden they might start to find space on the wings. So I think that their plan is going to be centre-backs, play it long to Toney, bring that in to get their players up the pitch. If the centre-backs can't do it, they play it through to midfield, and the midfield players will try and get the wing-backs into play. And that's how they're going to get up the pitch. So those are their two avenues of how they're going to play. And we're going to have a bit of a plan for that. Or we do what kind of Man City did against us, which is just make sure you're bloody good on the ball, in terms of you're just not giving it away, and you just suffocate them in that way. And you basically camp in their half and make sure that if you do lose the ball, you hound them very, very quickly and aggressively and force them along very quickly, and make sure Van der Ven is covering over the top, and make sure that we're being aggressive and win it back straight away, and we start another attack. I think that's probably the best avenue. That's probably the best, especially with Maddison back. Hopefully we have the quality to do that. Obviously we're not on Man City's level, but I think if I'm Ange Postecoglou, we got to make sure that we're not sloppy on the ball. We're passing very crisply, very sharply, bringing our central midfielders into play, and making sure we're dominating and just preventing Brentford from getting the ball. Because I do envisage if Brentford get enough possession and they're able to play through us, there is going to be joy for them, especially how they play. So we're going to have to make sure that our pressing is on point, we're super aggressive, super intense, and our quality on the ball is as good as it can be.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because the last couple of weeks, last couple of games, we've had a bit of a creative void in our team. Haven't been able to create as much chances maybe as we have been doing for the majority of the season. But now with Maddison back, we do think he's probably going to start in this game. Ange has said that he should have been given more minutes probably against Manchester City. So with Maddison back into the team now, do you think that, it's not a question of do we think, surely that gives us more creativity on that pitch?
Yeah, we know that. More, not just creativity, but I feel like what we've been missing without Maddison is control. Like how he drops deep, knits the play together, can spray a long range pass, but also finds those difficult pockets of space in the number 10 positions as well. I feel like Kulu and Lo Celso have been doing a decent job filling in for him, don't get me wrong. I think they've done fine. But Maddison just brings that extra element of control, which I don't think we had without him, in terms of just being able to dominate a game of football, have control and quality on the ball as well. And also, in the final third, have those moments of magic. I think what he does so great is when he drops deep, comes into his own half, picks the ball up and starts moves, controls the pace of the game. Kulu and Lo Celso just haven't been able to do that, just control the pace of the game. So I think Maddison's going to be very important. But again, it is going to be, obviously, he came on against Man City, was anonymous, but it's going to be obviously his first start, hopefully, back from injury. So whether he's fully ready to go, he's 100% fit, or he's going to be a bit rusty, we'll have to wait and see. But just having him on the pitch, if he is going to be anywhere near his best, it's going to be a major boost to helping us control this game for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a really big battle at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium tomorrow night. Me and Sim going to be in the stadium tomorrow with Ashmatic and Barnaby here for the watch along for you guys to come in and tune in to them. In terms of your prediction, what are you going for?
I said in the preview 3-1. Oh, in my predict the Prem, I said 3-1. I'm going to stick to that. I do think Brentford will get some joy from set pieces and getting the ball out wide. Potentially Lewis Potter-Keane, and potentially as well a long throw to Tony with flick-ons. I do see them getting some joy there, but I'm going to bank on the fact that Tottenham are going to want a bit of want to get back to winning ways, going to want that winning feeling again, especially at home. Brentford's away form hopefully counts against them as well. We've been pretty decent at home as well, so I think our attacking endeavour with Maddison back as well should give us a bit of a boost and hopefully take us to 3 points. But I definitely see an opportunity for Brentford to make life difficult for us in this game, but especially with their confidence up now, first win in a while with Tony back, I think they're going to have a bit of confidence about them. But hopefully, if we can just play our game, camp them in their half and break them down, I think we should win the game.
I want to see a big response from the team tomorrow night. You know, it was a poor performance against Man City. We got the point at Old Trafford, but we really should have been taking away 3 points from that game. With Maddison back into the team, I'm desperate to see that link up with Maddison and Bentancur in the middle of the park, those silky players working with each other. We haven't seen that yet in a Spurs shirt, and I think it's a very exciting prospect for that midfield duo to really play with each other. And I think we're gonna win, but Brentford are gonna make it desperately difficult for us. And I think with the defence that we've got now, the first choice defence back into the team, Van der Ven, Romero, Porro, Udogie, I think we can keep a clean sheet tomorrow night, albeit I think keep Tony quiet, and that will go some way to keeping that clean sheet. And I'm confident we can do that. You know, against Man City, we were so close to keeping that clean sheet. They scored in the 88th minute with a dodgy corner. So if they play to their full potential, then I do think we do that, and I think we take away a 2-0 victory. But don't take anything for granted, because this game will be a big battle at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But let's go there with confidence, and let's also stamp our authority in the game early. And because in the last few games, we've just been started games a bit sluggishly, a bit slowly. So I want to start at a million miles an hour and really show what we're about with Maddison and Bentancur strutting their stuff in the middle of the park. So I'm going for 2-0. Sim's going for 3-1. But let me know your score predictions in the comment section below.